Looks like we are back today with Michael on this beautiful Sabbath, the 17th of September 2022, to do another journey into the script Michael has prepared for us on conspiracies, a biblical view. We're on the 45th session today. Yeah, here he comes back. I thought we were done with him, but look at this picture. Yike, Michael.
Hi, Brad. Hello, dear listeners. I just want to finish the Kennedy sessions, but there are so many things that you really have to see. How the world has been running by a satanic government. Can't explain it any other way. You see that Proverbs 8:35 are still valid today.
Oh, and I can read it. For whoso findeth me findeth life, and shall obtain favor of the Lord. But he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul. All they that hate me love death.
Yep. Yeah, that's correct. So, the entire world is just being held together by a terrible amount of coincidences. It's all coincidences, all that the people who are promoting the agenda also are being related to people who are working for the pharma industry. Our German minister said, part of my answers could very much affect in your insecurity. Sure, yeah. And I found a very interesting, at least a German saying, which is the lie wins the sprint, but the truth wins the marathon. That I would find very fitting, just from going into this. But what about this Kennedy thing? Well, I'm so fed up with all the Kennedy. Sometimes I think that, it would be better that we have never started it. But on the other hand, there are some people, I hope, that really appreciate all these efforts and all the time spent for this Kennedy thing. So, there are so many false claims on that Kennedy thing. That's really amazing. It's so amazing, yeah. One thing I found I just will present it to you, yeah. But we take the shortcut, yeah. So, people are really saying that JFK may be still alive. Yeah, okay, sure. He would be 105 now, and this assassination would be faked. There are so much proof. Yeah, sure. So much proof, huh? So much proof, yeah. So much proof when you start to try to dig out the Zapruder movie. I don't have any words for that, yeah. So people say there's absolutely no doubt just by looking the Zapruder movie. Don't go into the nitty-gritty that the Zapruder movie itself is a fake. Yeah. What is correct is that Kennedy preceded the 9/11 hawks, of course. The same players, also almost correct, but I have to show that to you. Yeah. So it's not above top secret because there is nothing above top secret. Top secret is top secret. You cannot top it. Top secret or what? Yeah. So people really say there was a face exploding device attached to his face, Brad. Yeah. So the American president decided to quit just for the fun of it, or what? And then to have a device, a meat-looking, face-exploding device attached to him. How cool is that, huh? It's absolutely no problem. You see that you just take one dynamite or what else, yeah, and put it onto the face of some other and said you have fun. Or what? Brett, really, I'm so sick of all the Kennedy stuff in the meantime. Yeah, and sure, Mrs. Kennedy was cold as ice because she was just on a routine. They have exercised it before, I guess. Yes, of course she's cold as ice. She's a gold digger. Yeah, she did not marry as Aristotle or Narcissus because he had such a great habit or he was just so charming. Yeah, so cold as ice, foreigner. Yeah, there's nothing to see here, so just move on. Yeah. So Jackie, according to some theory, was not mind control, but she knew exactly the script that she was to follow. Yeah, sure, and that is mind control. When somebody tells you what to do to murder your own husband, what is that other than mind control? Yeah, and people really say, oh yeah, we got the original movie 29 seconds long and 500 frames at 60 frames per second. Oh, that must be a very, very different Zapruder movie. Yeah, it's very interesting, huh? Yeah, but nevertheless, I doubt that somebody has the original Zapruder movie. At least I would highly doubt that somebody would publish the movie, because I would suggest that that movie would be instantly be put down. Yeah, and so this is so hilarious that JFK had a flesh-colored explosive dye-pack device attached to the right side of his face. Yeah, sure. That's the only explanation of what that is here below his ear, huh? Not speaking about the fake Zapruder movie, of course. So I have a really hard time. Yeah, evidence. Yeah, Brett, just only a few minutes because I'm so sick of that stuff. Yeah, she assisted and set off the device. She quickly reached around behind his head with her right hand and found a white cord transparent ribbon and pulled it tight. And things went brilliantly wrong. The cord snapped and a piece of it fluttered onto the trunk as evidence. Yeah, where are the UFOs? Yeah, it's a bunch of complete Zapruder movie. You see, this is all fake. It's all fake. Sorry, guys, but it's all fake. You're speaking about a fake movie, and you try to prove something with a fake movie. Yeah, so that is here not a meat-looking device. What could that be, Brett?
Oh. Could be just a shadow.
No, I mean this here, yeah, below his ear, yeah, could be everything, but I would say I would go for a very natural explanation what that is. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it's, what shall that be other than a human hand?
Yeah, that could be.
Not a meat-looking device. So I don't care what that is because I know it's been taken out of a fake movie. Yeah, and JFK is not alive, and JFK has not been messed up with all the people then to duck down. Everything you will need is in this Zapruder movie. Sure, you got the right explanation. Yeah, I know that I don't believe any picture of the Zapruder movie because it was hidden for years, so they had all the time in the world to fabricate something. Yeah, so look at this picture very carefully. They say, look at the meat device. Yeah, I would suggest these people to look at the movie very carefully because that movie is fake. Because that is here a boat floating on grass.
Yeah, something's incredibly wrong with this picture, Michael. I agree. Something's just really fishy.
Yeah.
You don't have green right there. And what's that? Come on.
Yeah. Oh my. You see that if you don't know that the Zapruder movie is fake and you think you have the original Zapruder movie, then you would be one of the CIA. Yeah. JFK doesn't have an eye on the right side of his face. Yeah, sure, on a grainy Super 8 movie, huh? My. Yeah, it's actually covered up by a flesh-colored explosive dye-pack device. Yeah, once again, where is the UFO? Yeah, there must be UFO in control.
Came up with that idea.
Yeah, I have never seen that because I found that so hilarious, and then I came up with another explanation. There was also something emitting of his head after the shot, and they say, okay, yeah, this is not a trace, but this is a fragment here from the bone. Yeah, sure, there's a fragment from the brain or what else, yeah, so that you see the path of the bullet. You can't see the bullet because the bullet is too fast to be catched up with the frame. Or be catched by the frame. Yeah, and they say that, oh yeah, look at this, there's a white thing here on the grass in picture 314. Yeah, and that's a part of the brain which has emitted in picture 313. Yeah, I have a big problem with that. Yeah, you see, this is the trajectory here. Bottom to top, and this 3/4, and now you see here on that grass, you see here a white thing. So how shall that thing on 313 already be there? Yeah, when the shot occurred in that very frame. Yeah, so in that they say, of course, that's a part of the brain which has flown onto the grass. Okay, so it is not visible in 312 because supposedly either the car or the background or the entire movie has been moving forward. The car is driving that way, so it does not appear here. Okay, so if it does not appear here and only in the frame 313, then it appears. Because you see that the frame 313 always is a moving frame, because you see at the background the woman here, she looks more stable, and then in that frame. Yeah, so there is a movement, which means that that is not that large or that wide in that frame, because you see in the next frame, it's much more smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know that everything is fabricated. So it could have been lying on the grass before the frame 313 or 312 or so. Yeah, so it is something is lying on the grass here. Yeah, and that is not necessarily the part of the brain.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Are you serious? Someone's claiming that thing is part of the brain?
Part of the brain, yeah. So when we know that... Yeah, that can only be a part of the brain. You see that it can only be from a UFO, because usually things need a bit of time when they are traveling through air.
Yeah.
Oh.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's a really, really, really pathetic.
So when that is the trajectory, then things are usually falling. Not falling, actually flying into the air, and not on the sideways. So.
Yeah.
If that is a part of the brain, actually, then I don't know. I have never seen such a bright brain. Yeah, but maybe Kennedy has some bright brains. Come on, stop it, Brett. You see that I'm not giving anything for that kind of theory here. Yeah, yeah, could be a part of a handkerchief. You see, could it be everything? Yeah, it could be anything. Could be a piece of paper. What else? So let's get back to the script. These guys are really driving me nuts, but they can top that, even top that. You will see why. Yeah. So that would mean that it's, of course, a miracle that Mrs. Kennedy was not taken out. Yeah, there's also disinformation agents with their... You will fall in that black hole if you follow the theory, but you will be saved by the one eye and the pyramid then. Age of truth. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So the arrow points at a projectile type of object that was shot out and upwarded out of the SFX explosive packs. And I said, what is SFX? Oh, that's a sci-fi illustration or sci-fi technique. Yeah. And I said, that can't be, because you see that's too fast. But, okay, what do I know? So that's a supposedly Harper fragment, a piece of bone from John Kennedy's school that was discovered in Pleasidala, in Dealey Plaza, on the day after Kennedy was shot and killed. Sure, yeah, you see that FBI has covered the entire area, but they did not find a part of the skull. Yeah, so I have to believe it. So that would prove that the back of his head was blown out and imply a shot from the front. No. You can also attach a bullet from left below the ear and then point the bullet to the back, and of course the back of the brain will blow out. But what do I know, huh? What do I know? Yeah, so you can start here below the left ear, yeah, and then you can shoot to the back, and of course the back will blow out. Yeah, so it does not need to come from the front, so the grassy knoll or all these strange things. Yeah, so the Warren Commission did fail to deal with that. Of course, they had to do it for the script for Lee Harvey Oswald. And it's very interesting because what a coincidence here that Mr. Harper was discovering the piece of bone when he was on Dealey Plaza taking pictures, and he took it to his uncle, who was Dr. Jack C. Harper. Huh? So maybe coincidences. All the world is a stage is a coincidence here. Okay. So, and this piece of bone was allegedly been found 25 feet behind and to the left of the car's position when the president was hit in the head. Yeah? Of course, to the left car's position to assume that there was somebody from a storm drawer, or from the grassy knoll. Huh? Sure. And then we have a special agent, Kennedy Jackson, who says that in Josiah Thompson's 6 Seconds in Dallas, page 301, the bone was located approximately 25 feet south of the spot where President Kennedy was shot. Sorry, south of the president was shot, then it was left, then it was south. Okay, but it gets worse. In the book The Killing of a President, from Groden, the one who officially brought us and presented the so-called original Zapruder movie, he says that here the bone was determined to have been 35 feet behind and to the left of the president's car at the time of the headshot. Yeah, he just added 10 feet to the distance. That website is claiming, but don't believe that website, because they soon will come up with the hilarious theory. Hilarious. So that JFK was not dead, but JFK was being reinvented to play the part of the American president once again under the disguise and the face of Mr. Jimmy Carter. Brett, are you still with me, or have you been falling flat on your face?
I don't get it. What are they trying to say?
Yeah, they are trying to say that JFK did not die, but JFK was being transformed, and JFK had some surgery or what else, and then appeared in the 1970s as Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
Same goes for Jacqueline Kennedy into Rosalind Carter, of course. Yeah, so much for the credibility of that website. Yeah. So just one question for me to disprove the theory. Do you think that JFK loved his children?
Yeah.
I think that every sane person loves his children. Yeah, so can you imagine that President Kennedy would be out of sight for, what else, 10, 15 years, and his children were totally unaware? Or he had met them in private and nobody talked about that President Kennedy was being frozen in or being operated, surgical, what else? Who would like to treat children like that? Yeah? Oh, Dad is dead. No, Dad is not dead. Dad is just plain dead. JFK is not dead. No, of course. You see, Elvis not dead. Huh? Elvis is also not dead. Elvis and JFK are playing cards. I can't stand this kind of theory because you see that it's absolutely insane. Yeah, that she's involved with CIA is absolutely clear. That at least it is that she's involved in the assassination is absolutely clear because she does not speak the truth. But you see that he had nothing to gain from that. Yeah. So don't ask me about that kind of theories that people are coming up with. Yeah. Especially then you can push it even further and say that every assassination is fake. I agree to some consent that or some degree that some assassinations are fake, but I believe that John F. Kennedy did harm so many people. He was so many people were furious about JFK that they wanted to get rid of him. So. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. I don't see any evidence on the trunk here, but it's just maybe also for the Super 8 movie. I know that the official theory says there was a part of his skull on the trunk. I can't see that on every resolution. Also, I can't see some hand of Jackie Kennedy grabbing something. Yeah, and so that would be for the absolutely KO for the theory that there was something happening with his brain on the trunk. Okay, but okay, that's all staged, of course. I can't tell you if that is not been photoshopped as in addition, but I'm quite convinced that JFK died. Yeah, so sorry about that. Huh? Sorry. That is just one website. Yeah, Jacqueline Kennedy turned into Rosalind Kennedy. JFK turned into Jimmy Carter. My.
You don't.
Yeah, you see, that's like Strawberry Fields Forever. Strawberry Fields, some people say that it's a reference to heroin. Yeah, but I think that the Beatles were into strange moods and strange things. So that's what I told you. I'm waiting for the UFO theory on the assassination of Kennedy. Maybe this also is still around. I don't know. That people really say that, oh yeah, he was shot down from a UFO. It's hilarious. You see, it's hilarious. The problem is actually that I think that the problem is that people don't read books anymore. Yes. This is a kind of reality we are facing. You see that we are not being taught the real important things. And there's some commentator who says, Idiocracy, Mike Judge, director, said this movie to portray America's 500 years in the future. And today he says he was only off by 490 years.
Right.
Yeah, and so that would be my prognosis. Yeah, and I'm not a prophet, but that's deliberately. You see, they're mixing up everything, and you see closing schools just for your safety.
That's a conservative estimate. I think it's much
that's
deeper
very
than that.
Yeah.
It's very conservative.
And I said, okay, that must be the plan. Yeah. So what is really interesting between the JFK assassination and between these September happenings is there are some quite similarities. Yeah. For example, the Secret Service stand down for the American president. Yeah. So they did not do anything. I don't know if I have to show that picture once again. I actually forgot that. Stand down. Yeah, so no, just from the Love Field airport, the president shall not be protected. Yeah, Emery Robertson said that, oh yeah, no, stop that protection, you're not running behind the president's limousine or something like that. So, and that's the same case in the September happenings. A security firm owned by the Bush family closed the World Trade, I did not want to tell, the WTC down the weekend before the fatal day, removing the bomb-sniffing dogs which were never brought back in, most telling of all deliberately order to the North American Defense of the Air to stand down, because they had at the same time a similar exercise of some terrorists trying to bombard the United States. Yeah, strange, huh? Next strange things is the removal of evidence. Yeah, so Lee Harvey Oswald allegedly has shot, and then they switched the weapon, and all these films from cameras, movies, and also all those things, they were collected by the FBI, Secret Service, and Dallas Police Department. At the scene of the crime, the presidential limo was not only hosed down and cleaned up immediately after the murder, but LBJ had completely gutted out and refitted it to his own use, destroying much of the forensic evidence. Yeah, and I say on purpose. Yeah, and in 2001, they had the same thing. The black boxes containing the recorded communications between the plane and the ground control were mysteriously missing. So the strongest part of the airplane, which is supposed to stay intact, yeah. So these black boxes from the two crashed 767, yeah, failed to turn up in the rubble taken from the side. That's impossible at the same time when you know that the passports have survived. Yeah, please explain the logic in it, Brad.
Logic? Is there a logic there?
There is no logic, no. And in 2000,
then what's there to explain?
Yeah, so, and in 2001 also security cameras were either not operational that morning or were immediately impounded by the government. Yeah, I remember of some gas station and a hotel or so who told, oh yeah, they confiscated everything. It's not there. Cleanup of debris of the fallen building was ordered, important evidence hauled away. Sure. The next thing is unbelievable pristine evidence. 1963, the so-called single bullet, magic bullet on the stretcher is magic because it has supposedly gone through both the president and the governor, yet remained in pristine condition without losing significant mass. And you can debunk that with one sentence. What we do in the next episode. 2001, discovery of the alleged hijackers' identification cards in rubble of the Trade Center disaster site, defying all logic and evidence. Yeah. Fourth point, immediately identification of suspects. Within moments of the assassination of Kennedy, an arrest warrant was issued for Lee Harvey Oswald. There was no other possibility. And in 2001, with the moments of the tragedy, blame was being placed on first mastermind Osama bin Laden. Sure, it can only be happened and planned by the mastermind genius Osama bin Laden, which was then been located somewhere in a summer hole in Afghanistan or Pakistan where he actually lived, and they needed several years to pick him up in his home, and they killed him. Yeah, so of course, because a terrorist is never at home, he's busy outside. Yeah, and so it could only be handed over and only be controlled and planned from Osama bin Laden. Sure, there's no other American terrorist around. You must be a very happily free country in America when your biggest concern actually is a Pakistani Afghanistan terrorist. So there is no American terrorist, no European terrorist, but only Osama bin Laden, who was been trained by the CIA to fight the Soviets officially in Afghanistan. Oh. Yeah, so it's one of their own men. So in 1963, it was being recorded by Abraham Zapruder, and it's not the Jewish man who supported the nation of Israel, but a Freemason. And as far as I'm concerned, I think that Freemason is not depending on any nation state bread. Yeah, so he's a Freemason once and for all. In 2000 and sorry?
Yeah, he's been deceived.
Yeah. In 2001, you have 5 dancing Israelis to have some scapegoat. Oh, yeah, these Israelis again. You see, sometimes I'm really sad for all the people who are really in Israel, or Israelites, if you would like to say that so, because there is a spiritual Israel also. Because these people are so betrayed. Yeah, been used as scapegoats all over the place. Yeah, it's really what to say about that. Yeah, so this 5 dancing Israelis also, of course, a distraction method. Yeah, so that's the thing. And so we have to look for the infrastructure, because in this series I will go in the beginning of the assassination on the very day for the assassination on Kennedy. So Jackie, of course, she was mind controlled because she had close ties to the church, so to speak. Yeah, she worked for the CIA, of course. She had George de Mohrenschildt, was familiar to Alan Dulles and all this stuff. Yeah, so she was addicted to amphetamines. That's no big deal. Electroshock therapy, I can't prove. No memory is a modern myth of so many politicians that don't know anything. Yeah, so there are no proofs that she was mind controlled, but if you look closely at her cold actions, which she did appear on the trunk, then it's absolutely clear what she was up to. And that she was working for the CIA actually is even been mentioned here. You see, if that information is correct and should not distract from the real people behind the assassination. It's really been mentioned here in the National Movie and Database. Yeah, even there, she took a job at the CIA and she went to Washington as a photographer. During that assignment, she met the Senator John F. Kennedy. Yeah, sure, she was Operation Mockingbird. Yeah, she was been sent to. I'm quite convinced she was been sent to deceive Kennedy. So one website here claims that David Kennedy was the 4th child of 11 children. David Kennedy, so 4th letter, 11 letter, 411, would be symbolizing the curse of Cain. Yeah, but the problem is, you see, that these curses are just a distraction, in my humble opinion, because it just resembles that these Kennedys were once a very powerful family, and at least 2 of Kennedys, they have messed up with the government, and so they have gotten rid of the Kennedys. And we will go into that very later, so you don't need about that, because you see that you can't prove that it is just on purpose, and somebody is just naming his child Kennedy, so come on, that's a little bit lame here, I think. Yeah, sure, it was been announced in Manchurian Candidate, but that goes for other assassinations as well. For example, John Lennon. Okay, so let's go on, because we will never finish. So can't prove that all this Manchurian Candidates is just internet meme. I don't know if there is something to it. If there are 5 levels and what they are doing, especially, I can't prove it. Open eyes. You see, this is all just could also be counter disinformation here. Yeah, counter information or disinformation. You can't prove anything. Yeah. So this Richard Condon, who had written that novel, The Manchurian Candidate, he also wrote other novels. And that Manchurian Candidate movie 1962 with the Night of Malta, Frank Sinatra, was being withdrawn after Kennedy had been assassinated, because maybe it was too close to the truth. Yeah, and speaking about truth, there will be no truth from the press. There will be no secret files who will be revealed, because if it is not to be revealed, it will not be revealed. So if it is correct that Mrs. Kennedy, Jackie, her name, has also been in contact or an affair with Bobby Kennedy, then it's very interesting. Look at this. Holding hands 3 days after the assassination, Jackie Kennedy and Robert Kennedy. Okay, that is just for mental support, huh? But many people are claiming they had an affair. and that Bobby would spend more time with Jacqueline Kennedy than with his own wife. And do you know how many children Mr. Robert Kennedy had, Brett?
No.
8.
Wow.
Can you imagine? So the value of or the power of a family clan, of course, is equivalent to the number of offspring you have. Because then you can enlarge your influence. You can set your family in many positions in the government, right? As John F. Kennedy did with using his younger brother as Attorney General. I think it was. So, and then it's very interesting when somebody tells you that the night of Malta, Aristotle Onassis was plotting a plot to possess Jackie and to destroy Bobby. So that they put night of Malta Onassis against Robert Kennedy to get rid of him so that he can have Jackie. Okay, that's one valid theory, but it gets worse. In the biography, A Woman Named Jackie, where the information of the CIA also been reported, they say that she had an affair with Robert Kennedy. And now just look at this. Covering the years 64 to 68, when the liaison allegedly took place, these documents confirm what I have already asserted in hundreds of hours of personal interviews. There had been indeed an affair. And now I like to stress my common sense. My common sense is Bobby, who had wed Ethel Skakel, a daughter of a coal magnate in 1950, by the time of JFK's murder, the couple had already 8 children. And now my train of thoughts is, of course, we know that she married Aristoteles Onassis, Knight of Malta, who was then becoming Bobby's rival. But, and it's a big but, she met Onassis in 1963. If she would have to love a relationship with him because of all his money, what was Robert F. Kennedy good for? This is just my hypothesis, okay? Remember that Jackie Kennedy was telling about Camelot, this fairy tale about King Arthur's Knight Round of a Table. Brett, King Arthur's Round of Table, knights.
Right.
If JFK had been Arthur or King Arthur, then Bobby was increasingly playing Lancelot to Jackie's Guinevere, especially when it came to helping raise her offspring. That means that Lancelot was the one who was also having an affair with the Queen in Lancelot, in that myth, in that legend. When she is mentioning Camelot, that in the Camelot, that's a castle and court associated with legendary King Arthur. Yeah, that's Camelot. Never happened. Yeah, never took place. So, but there was a Lancelot. And this Lancelot was having an affair with the Queen. And that is very interesting here. Yeah, Lancelot, the knight of the cart. Yeah, that is very interesting here. So that when she was mentioning Lancelot, Jackie Kennedy, that it could also mean that she as a queen had an affair. Or some affair to that concern. And very interesting. Okay, but it gets worse. Bobby was soon more spending time with Jackie than with his own children. Very interesting. Another visitor to Jackie's house was Aristotle Onassis, who had resumed his romance with Jackie's younger sister Lee Radziwill, who married a Polish nobleman. Lee Radziwill was cheating. The sister of Jackie Kennedy was cheating on her husband, Prince Radziwill, with Aristotle Onassis. And Aristotle Onassis, according to some books, had also an affair and intercourse with Jackie Kennedy before John F. Kennedy was dying. Yeah. And to Bobby's annoyance, the tycoon provided Jackie financial assistance. That's very interesting. And then I had an idea, because I don't want to wash some dirty laundry here, but I had an idea. Yeah, because now look at this, please. In August 1964, Robert Kennedy announced that he would move to New York to run for the Senate. Jackie, too, made plans to relocate to Manhattan. Meanwhile, Ethel, so his wife of Robert F. Kennedy, stayed with her children at the Kennedy home in Hickory Hill, Virginia. Aha. And then I thought that is very interesting that they had an affair, because I can't prove that, of course, but now we have to think a little bit more straight. You know, all the Kennedy was Joe Kennedy was a premier, when I like to say so. He was an ambassador for the United States. He had ties to Roosevelt, high-ranking Freemason. The entire family was devoted to the Vatican and the Pope. And his first son, he died in a so-called plane crash accident. If it was an accident, maybe it happened on purpose. Yeah, because everybody knew that if the father Kennedy could not make it as a president, then his oldest son had to replace him, to become American president. That was the ambition of the Kennedy clan. So after, in 1944, the alleged explosive accident in the plane, spy plane, happened, it was clear since 1944 for the Secret Service that John F. Kennedy had to become American president. So they had 19 years of planning, Brad.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, and this is his wife here, yeah, Jackie Kennedy, most likely CIA. So, and then when he was being murdered, getting rid of, sacrificed, slain, whatsoever, then, of course, what would be the task when 1964 Robert F. Kennedy said that he would run for the Senate? I think, Brad, it is absolutely clear that Robert F. Kennedy's intention was to become the next American president. And now maybe you can think the same thing as me. Could it be that Jackie Kennedy had a second task? Do you know what I mean?
No.
You know that we have to face the fact that Jackie Kennedy is most likely the assassin of John F. Kennedy. And she wanted to spend her life together with much money, and she was offered most likely $1 million from John F. Kennedy's father to stay in that marriage, not to get divorced, because that would have ruined John F. Kennedy's chances of re-election, if that story is true. So after John F. Kennedy was been murdered, yeah, she had to wait a while to get together with Aristotle Onassis, so that it was a little bit more hidden that what was her intention to leave John F. Kennedy in the first place. So the intermediate affair was with Robert F. Kennedy, but maybe not on a personal level. But because if she is CIA and she succeeded in getting rid of John F. Kennedy, why would the CIA not have put her on to another test to spy on Robert F. Kennedy? Because, Brett, it's so obvious, because it is only after the assassination of Robert F. Kennedy in Los Angeles in the Ambassador Hotel. You know, he was an ambassador. In the Ambassador Hotel of Los Angeles, or the Los Angeles, it is very obvious that she was the one who insisted and instructed the family of Robert F. Kennedy, speaking of Bethel, and 8 children, to stop the life support on Robert F. Kennedy. And after that Robert Kennedy was dead, yeah, she would then leave to Greece and said, now they have killed the second Kennedy, I'm in fear of my children, I have to get away from the United States. So if she was assigned and part of the conspiracy of John F. Kennedy, what shall me convince that she was not a part of the conspiracy on at least spying on Robert F. Kennedy, huh? Fool me once, don't fool me twice. I think that's a valid theory, at least. Mm-hmm. So, John Mayer, an assassin aide who interviewed, told me his boss and boasted, "You'll be happy to know I finally bagged the Queen." Yeah, so it's more obvious. We have several people who even claimed that she was having more than an affair with Mr. Onassis. Yeah. And of course, Onassis didn't like Kennedy, of course, yeah. But you see that, so it's working all over again with the CIA. And I'm not interested in the love life of Jackie Kennedy with Mr. Marlon Brando. What I'm interested is that all the combinations behind the scene. You see that Aristotle Onassis, his son also died in a plane crash, like JFK's son, JFK Jr. Yeah, so much of coincidences, Brett. And what you don't know is that he was also the inspiration of a James Bond villain named Stavros Blofeld. And that is not the big concern. The big concern is that he was a member of certain kind of orders. Yeah, and and he was also being educated as the Evangelical School of Smyrna, one of the 7 churches of the Book of Revelation. But, and it's a big but, you see that if you've been educated in a school, that does not mean anything if you're at the same time part of a order, and he was a Knight of Malta. So we can assume that Aristotle Onassis had some kind of insight into the Kennedy assassination. No? So that is the church in Smyrna. That's where he was educated, so-called evangelical. But you see that if he is serving the mammon, Brett, then he's not evangelical. And if he's a Knight of Malta, you see he's no Protestant.
Yeah.
Obviously. Okay. Now look at this. He, speaking of Aristotle Onassis, worked together with Knight of Malta, René III of Monaco. So the highest ruler or the monarch of Monaco. You know where Monaco is in Europe, Brett?
No, I don't. Not at the moment.
Yeah, it's between somewhere between France and Italy. Yeah, and so yeah, that's René of Monaco. Yeah, of course. Where did he get his title from? Yeah, it's nobility. It's European nobility. So he must have gotten his title from the Pope. Yeah. And what he did was, he was not only a Knight of Malta, so he was be known with Mr. Aristotle Onassis. Yeah, that means that both of them were Knight of Malta, but officially they were enemies. Yeah. It's very interesting when you go into the ship of Aristotle Onassis, which is called Christina O, for his child Christina Onassis. There were several important people there as guests. Winston Churchill, 8-time. John F. Kennedy also was there. The Yugoslavian president of Tito, the Greek president, etc. And the British family, the royals. But Churchill did not want it, and so that did not happen. Jackie Kennedy was 1963, the first time there, of course, having an affair with Onassis. And also the marriage between the actress Grace Kelly and René III of Monaco, the monarch of Monaco, was being held there. That's very interesting because it's extremely strange. Grace Kelly, I think she's known to many people. She was an actress who played together with Cary Grant and all the stuff, and then she became nobility, Princess Grace of Monaco, or Grace Grimaldi. Grimaldi sounds Italian, huh? So what it has to do with Kennedy? Well, you see, officially they were extreme enemies because Onassis took very much business into Monaco. But on the other hand, they were both in the same boat, in the boat of the Survey Military Knight of Malta. But it's very interesting that Monaco got more wealthy and more wealthy just because of the marriage of the King or Count Rainier with Grace Kelly, because end of the 1960s, after the marriage took place, 10 times as much tourists went there to the country of Monaco. And the highlight was the annual Red Cross Festival. Huh? What a coincidence. Red Cross Festival. Huh? Red Cross, Maltese Red Cross. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so this is actress Grace Kelly. And this is Grace Kelly also with Robert F. Kennedy. Because she's the First Lady of Monaco then. And this is at her funeral. Yeah, this is one of her childs. This is King or Count René. What happened, Brad? Well, she had a car accident.
Oh, wow.
And To Catch a Thief was one of her most prominent movies with Cary Grant. At this curve here, she had that accident. It's very strange that even that curve has been mentioned in the movie she made years before. She was the epitome of Hollywood glamour and transformed into a rearward flare when she married royalty. And that's the same what the sister of Jackie Kennedy did. Huh? She married nobility. But then her car tumbled off the cliff of a winding road in Monaco on September the 13th, 1982. She was pronounced dead the next day at the age of 52. A tragic accident which happened. Yeah. At that time, what did happen? She should have been helping her youngest daughter, Princess Stephanie, then 17, to get settled at school in Paris. Instead, she was being mourned by notable names like Nancy Reagan, Princess Diana, and Cary Grant, of course, at the Monaco Cathedral on September the 18th. In a 75-minute funeral service watched by about 100 million viewers on television. Officially, her death was determined to be the result of 2 intensive strokes, and, now please take a look very carefully, her family decided to remove her from life support since she was already declared brain dead. Oh. Well, you see that brain dead is also an invention of doctors to have access to the organs, because only living organs have some value if you are in trading organs. And many people are into trading living organs because that is very high paid. Yeah, so this brain dead, that's a very mean thing of extracting living organs of people who are not already dead, but been declared as brain dead. But that's not the case here. The case here is that her family decided to remove her from life support since she was already declared brain dead. So she was not dead. She was declared brain dead, but she was not dead. But they said, okay, remove her from life support. So that's the same as Jacqueline Kennedy advised by the shooting of Robert F. Kennedy, right? And it gets even worse. The fact that she was behind the wheel on that fateful drive from the family's farm at Roc-Argel in France back to their palace in Monaco was a bit of surprise. While it was only about 12 miles away, the drive would take about 40 minutes because of the winding roads. But perhaps I was just occasional. Usually she had a chauffeur, and she had a Green Rover 3500, and usually she had a chauffeur, but on that very particular day she decided to drive on her own. So it must be a very important, very strange. So what did happen? Well, she did not catch the turn. It was a 150-degree turn, and that's where things got wrong, and the vehicle tumbled down 120 feet. Initially, there were rumors that the 70-year-old Stephanie, who survived the accident, that she was behind the wheel. And there was also some theory of somebody, but 2 other eyewitnesses said they saw Grace Kelly or Queen or Princess Kelly driving. In 2001, her daughter Stephanie said, I was not driving, that's clear. In fact, I was thrown around inside the car like my mother, who was catapulted onto the back seat. The passenger door was completely smashed in. I got out of the only accessible side, the driver's. Yeah, that's the site. The scene after Grace Kelly's death crash. And you might think of yourself, what has that to do with Kennedy? Well, Stephanie and her mother had a heated conversation, most likely, since the teenager wanted to marry at the age of 17 her boyfriend at the time, the son of French film actor Jean-Paul Belmondo, a racing car driver named Paul. If you are into Formula One, you know that one of the main attractions in Monaco is the Grand Prix, the Formula One Grand Prix in Monaco, and Monaco being of one of the most expensive places in the entire world. So there is only people who have made that in this world. Monaco Grand Prix. Grand Prix is just French, means great prize or the big prize. Yeah. Yeah, this is not a racetrack, actually. This is a racetrack which is using the official roads in Monaco, including a tunnel. Yeah, but this is Monaco. Monaco, usually you would see a bunch of big ships there. Yeah, that's Monaco. Yeah, you don't live here if you can make it here if you have a job of 9 to 5 or something to do with wood. Yeah, you can't live here then. At least not having a yacht, Brett.
Yeah.
But, and it's a big but now, Stephanie said, okay, that's a discussion and I wouldn't want to talk about either, but now it gets really weird. Since there were no skid marks, the car was accelerating the entire time it went off the cliff. A witness driving behind them said he never saw the brake lights go on, and I was instantly reminded of the JFK car, who instantly the brake lights did go on. But it gets worse. When the car was found, the gear was in the park position. I was about to take my driving test. I knew you had to put it in park to stop the car. Stephanie said of attempting to prevent the accident. I tried everything. I even pulled on the handbrake. Did my mother confuse the brake pedal with the accelerator? I don't know. Other reports pointed finger at the car manufacturer, saying that perhaps the 11-year-old Rover's brakes failed. Engineers from the company even flew in to investigate. No malfunctions were found. But one thing was known for sure, neither of them was wearing a seatbelt. Well, you see that if the car was falling down the cliff, what are seatbelts actually for? Huh? Okay, but there is another thing which I found. Huh? So, once again, yeah, this is the funeral. So, Kelly was removed from life support and pronounced dead. The decision was made by her husband. Oh, didn't we learn it was made by the family? Now we know it was made by her husband, Prince René. Aha. So he was the one who was responsible to say, okay, no, get her off the life support. She was already brain dead. You see that, very careful with that allegation here. Because that's a medical term, which, to my knowledge, is not quite correct. Nobody can tell you if somebody will not survive after he doesn't show any brain functions. They didn't want to keep her alive. Oh, that's also a very interesting sentence here. Artificially. They made a difficult decision, okay? Yeah, and now compare that, please, with what The Guardian said. In the book Bobby and Jackie, a love story by C. David Heyman, alleges that the relationship grew so intense that when Robert Kennedy was assassinated in 1968, it was Jackie, not his wife, who told doctors to turn off the life support. Yeah, where is that? What I want to show you. Okay, yeah. What I found is here in Town and Country magazine says, Stephanie's sister Caroline relied to Robinson what Stephanie told her happened in the car. Stephanie told me, Mommy kept saying I can't stop. The brakes don't work. I can't stop. She said that Mommy was in a complete panic. Stephanie grabbed the handbrake. She told me right after the accident. I pulled on the handbrake, but it wouldn't stop. I tried, but I just couldn't stop the car. So that is another story. As the official story from the Rover company. Maybe also they did not want to have the big public message that their cars are unreliable is, of course, it is just an accident, Brett, that on one of the few occasions when Grace Kelly was driving on her own, that the brakes failed in that very curve, in that very bend there, where she was depicted with Cary Grant in that movie. It's all just a bunch of coincidences here. Yeah, nothing to see here, Brett. Please go on. Yeah, look at that hairpin here. It's called a hairpin, huh?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So that is very strange when you see that all these people are being found dead in accidents. Jane Mansfield, Grace Kelly, Princess Diana. Although she's the more obvious victim here. Yeah. In that tunnel, on the 13th pillar, with a car which has officially been stolen 4 weeks before. It's an official hotel's car, so it was a rental car. And if I'm correctly informed, then some of the seat belts were not working. But I guess that some other things in that car were working, which were not officially manufacturer equipment. Yeah, that's so much I would say. Yeah, it's very strange here that these things are actioning. But you have to remind that she was not only been in the highest circles, but also that she married the Knight of Malta. So he had something in common with Aristotle Onassis and Alan Dulles and all the alike, the Knight of Malta. Now I got a very interesting thing which we have also been talked about in the Kennedy sessions here. It's the Freemason organization Propaganda Due, or the Second Propaganda. Propaganda means a committee of cardinals in charge of foreign missions of the Catholic Church. So it was usually an Italian lodge of Freemasons, yeah, but also it was something to hide, which was then used as a blown cover as cover. Yeah, because this is a German text here. I'm really sorry, I could have translated it into English. Yeah, so the P2 was a lodge under the Grand Orient of Italy, 1977, a pseudo-Messianic radical right organization, operation, etc., etc. Maybe it is more easy to relate on the German text. It is much more easy. Yeah, because sometimes you get more interesting information in German, sometimes you get more interesting information in English. The P2 organization was originally an Italian Masonic lodge and was misappropriated in the 1970s to disguise a secret political organization. And Brad, what political organization could that be?
Oh, well,
it's easy.
Probably Knights of Malta.
It's easy because you see that you only have to get rid of the two, yeah, and then you got the original propaganda. Yeah, this is just Propaganda Due, Propaganda 2.
Right.
Yeah, so it's just a Freemason bunch of the original propaganda from the Catholic Church.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that is what propaganda means.
Yeah.
Propaganda means the sending out of cardinals for the mission of the Catholic Church. Founded in Rome, how coincidentally, founded in Rome in 1887 as the Masonic counterpart to the Curia Congregation Propaganda Fide in Germany. Yeah? So do you find it in the German Wikipedia? It's unbelievable. So that must be fake. Yeah. And so you know who
Propaganda Masonica?
Yeah, but now you know, Brad, who's behind P2. Yeah? Behind P2 is, of course, the Curia Congregation Propaganda Fide. Yeah, and this was been founded in Rome. Yeah, come on, please. Please. Yeah? And so there was serious suspicion that the secret society has developed plans for a coup d'etat and was linked to a false flag terrorist attack stage in the 1970s, which was later confirmed in judicial investigations. Yeah, who's running the judicial investigations? Huh? P2 was disbanded and banned in 1982. Okay? Now
Whose judgment, in other words, right, Michael?
Yeah. And so now that was the translation here. And that is the same thing as with this banker of God, Robert Calvi, who was then, you see, 1982, who was then been hanged at the Blackfriars Bridge in 1982 in London. Yeah, who killed Robert Calvi? Yeah, and that was a Blackfriars Bridge. Yeah, Blackfriars Bridge. Blackfriars means monastery of the Dominicans. Blackfriars. Dominicans have been called Blackfriars. Dominicans were being handed over the Inquisition before the Jesuits took over. Yeah, and he was being hanging on an orange cord. Orange means Freemason, 33 degree, and his suit was filled with stones. My, how hard can it be? It's about a Freemason ritual. It's a hanged man. It's a betrayer. It's a religious ritual killing of somebody in the open, so that everybody can see, okay, that's what happens to you if you cannot shut your mouth. That is the same open public killing as with John F. Kennedy, so that everybody can see. Yeah, this is coming from my German series 30. It must be English series then 25 or so. So propaganda, do it. P2. Yeah, after the kidnapping of Michele Sindona, a list of 550 P2 members was spread. This is official. I don't know if that is correct. Yeah, and that is very interesting because also Mr. Sindona was been dying in a high security jail at cyanide poisoning. No killer could be found, and suicide is also possible. Sure. Yeah, and so it is very interesting. Yeah, remember 1982. There was also an Italian left-wing actor or politician called Aldo Moro, who was officially being killed by the Red Brigades. Yeah, Brigade Rosso with the pentagram, of course. Yeah, and you don't know what happened there actually. His dead body was found and exposed to the press like JFK in his Lincoln car. That's Aldo Moro. And you got also another problem, because you see that what is really the truth behind it. 1978. To create a Masonic murder mystery, the murder was linked to Operation Gladio of NATO, the Hyperion School in Paris, P2, the Mafia, and all the alike. You see that Italy, I think it's a very corrupt country. Yeah. But that is the same. And now you compare that P2 Lodge with 1982. And you know that there are many people surrounding of Onassis, and that also Onassis was Knight of Malta together with King Renier. That's it. That's it. Okay, so before I forget that, Grace Kelly, Cary Grant. Before I forget it, because you want to know what the similarity is between the so-called accident of Grace Kelly and the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Well, wherein she was lying.
In a car, yeah.
In a car. That's a similarity together with John F. Kennedy, I guess. Mm-hmm. So, can you imagine what happened to the car afterwards?
Oh, yeah, it got destroyed.
Mm-hmm. In that case of Grace Kelly, if my sources are serving me correctly, the car was just being thrown in the ocean. That's a strange similarity to the killing of John F. Kennedy when the car was ripped apart. So the real evidence would be the car. Yeah, don't fall for that thing that Rover said there was nothing bad with the car, because can you imagine what kind of an impact that would have for a small British car manufacturer if they would have agreed on, yeah, the brakes have failed. Yeah, that's a usual common thing in our cars. And otherwise, you see that if the brakes would have failed, can you imagine what consequences that would have if they would have alleged somebody who have manipulated the car? They have gotten rid of the car. Point. Yeah, that's the same thing what happened to Mr. Kennedy. And also, it is an involvement of the Suriname Knights of Malta. And there are allegations that Mr. Renier of Monaco, the monarch of Monaco, he was not only a member of the Knights of Malta, he was also a member of Propaganda Due. And that in 1982, that was when she was dying here in her car, yeah, that one of the 550 names on that list of Propaganda Due was Prince Rene of Monaco. And that she wants to get rid of him because she was fearing for her life. That we can't prove anything but the similarities of Knight of Malta involvement, Freemasons involvement, life supports that has been shut off, and the car as evidence which have gotten rid of is very striking, I think. And also you got an American woman, yeah, who is then going over to Europe to marry some wealthy guy. Yeah, you got it in the same case of Jacqueline Kennedy marrying Aristotle Onassis, and with Grace Kelly then marrying Prince Rene of Monaco. That's why I wanted to point it out. So you're not part of the club. Yeah, like Kissinger and like Johnson, yeah, you're not part of the club. These people, they know much more. So we have faced that. So in the second part now we are coming to the assassination to Mr. Kennedy. Yeah, so we had a Secret Service stand down, and that's not the only problem we had. We had enemies everywhere. I said once that Mr. Kennedy did not have one friend in the motorcade, at least not that I was aware of. Okay? And there were also many problems from the secret society. Yeah, I have two prominent examples, one of them being Cable 243. This is a cable declared that Washington would no longer tolerate Vietnam remaining in a position of power, and ordered the special ambassador to the Vatican, Henry Cabot Lodge, to pressure Diem to remove his own brother. It said that Cable himself said that if Diem refused, the Americans would explore the possibility for alternative leadership in South Vietnam. And the problem is that they have made that officially public without the consent of Kennedy. That's a big problem. It was not prepared by Kennedy itself, it was prepared by Mr. Averell Harriman. Averell Harriman. And I found that on every Harriman. Yeah, he was a bonesman, like Prescott Bush Sr. And of course, somebody else, huh? We can't talk about it. It's so secret we can't talk about. Huh? Was it John Kerry? I think it was John Kerry with the interview.
Oh yeah, John Kerry.
John course. Kerry, yeah, as well as George W. Bush, huh? So. Right. Yeah, so that is the same as in the German Reich, the SS Totenkopf, which means the skull. Yeah, so they have all the same symbols.
Yep.
All the same, yeah. What was the verse here in all that they hate me, love death?
Yeah, all those who hate me love death.
Yeah, that's the same, yeah. Yeah, so these were the people responsible for that, because the president was just on vacation. Yeah, and also the Defense Secretary Robert McNamara, but he's not clean either, and the CIA Director and Knight of Malta John McCone also, they were on vacation. Yeah, so they did that, I think, to make the life very hard for Mr. Kennedy. Yeah, so he could not trust anyone, Mr. Kennedy. I think that what people don't understand is that Kennedy was very liked by the public, but hated by the officials. Yeah, so that is what was giving Kennedy a hard time. Yeah, Kennedy says, "My God, my government's coming apart." And that's the source here. Yeah, just to type in Cable 243. Yeah, his advisors had been dishonest. The president was angry with himself and with his advisors. Yeah. My. These were so many things going on against Mr. Kennedy behind the curtain. Yeah. So another one which is very prominent is Operation Northwards, a proposed false flag operation which did not take place, or did take place, Brett, 39 years later. if you get it. Press using the calculator.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I said Operation Northwood was a proposed false flag operation which did not take place, or did take place 39 years later.
Wow.
Yeah, it's also false flag. Yeah, if you know what I mean. Avoiding any important and any problematic names here. Yeah, and so many people from behind the curtain, or so many military people, Secret Service people also, yeah, they really hated Kennedy because, of course, what do they want? All that they hate me, love death. They wanted to have war, especially on Vietnam. And one of them was the leader of the Operation Mongoose, was the U.S. Air Force Major General Edward Lansdale. That's the one also who's been accused by Mr. Fetzer in his research. But Mr. Fetzer, I really like that guy, but I think he's got some problems with it because he has an official position and can't talk too much, and also that he's thinking that the shots came from outside the car. Yeah, and he's blaming Mr. Edward Lansdale. Yeah, and it's very strange that Mr. Edward Lansdale was being seen here in the Didi Plaza when they have captured the so-called 3 tramps. Or, for the Masonic ritual, the 3 ruffians. Yeah, so these people, Secret Service people or army generals, they were also in Didi Plaza. What's that for a strange kind of happening there, huh? Haven't they got a celebration there or what? Yeah, you see that you have only a bunch of people who like to kill or like to have war. You see that even LBJ was accused for having arranged several murders, among of them his own sister, Josefa Johnson. The sister of Lyndon B. Johnson, reputation for wild behavior, alcoholic, admitted to several hospitals, health problems, affairs with John Kinzer and Mac Wallace. That's a murderer for LBJ. Yeah? Mac Wallace shot then John Kinzer because he wanted to have the only relationship with Josefa Johnson. And what did LBJ do? Yeah, well, LBJ later had problems with his own sister because she was talking too much. And when Wallace was shooting down Mr. Kinzer, he was been seen, his license plate was then been written down and recognized, but he was released on bail from 2 of Johnson's financial supporters. Yeah, and Wallace was been found by a jury, yeah, guilty with murder of malice aforethought. 11 of the jurors were for the death penalty. The 12th argues for life imprisonment. Judge Charles O. Betty overruled the jury and announced a sentence of 5 years imprisonment. He suspended the sentence and Wallace was immediately freed. Any questions, Brad? No, I don't suppose. Yeah, you see, there's a judge who says, okay, that 11 jury members has said, okay, found guilty, yeah, and he shall be killed, and he says, no, I overrule it, and yeah, he suspended the sentence, and Wallace was immediately freed. That's justice in this world. Yeah, according to a Texas Observer guy, several of the jurors telephoned John Kinzer's parents to apologize for agreeing onto a suspended sentence, but said they did so only because threats have been made against their families. And the sister of Lyndon B. Johnson, she was dying at 1961 without making an autopsy, yeah, against the law. Yeah, you see that if you are a powerful politician, you can do anything. Yeah, you get away with everything. Yeah, you get away with everything. And this Mick Wallace was being accused of shooting out of the window of the Texas School Book Depository on that very day with Kennedy. Kinzer and Wallace. Yeah. It's it's unbelievable. There was no autopsy of his sister. Yeah, it's unbelievable. You see, we could get on and on and on. Yeah, but LBJ also, he has ordered so many murders. But despite of that, he was becoming president. Yeah, and so that's in the motor cage. Yeah, that's in the motorcade. Yeah, JFK secretary Evelyn Lincoln wrote that the day President Kennedy left for Dallas, they discussed the Bobby Baker scandal. LBJ's deep involvement in the scandal affects JFK campaign for a second term. And Kennedy told her, I will need a running mate in 16 for a man who believes as I do. So not Lyndon B. Johnson. Yeah, and Lyndon B. Johnson knew that because Mrs. Evelyn Lincoln was in touch with the secretary of Lyndon B. Johnson. Yeah, it's a small world. Yeah. Yeah, so LBJ is a most likely murderer. Yeah. Where shall I start? Yeah. So look at this way. You see that all the major companies who are really running the world, they were against Mr. Kennedy. These are the Jesuits, this is the Vatican and the Pope, because Kennedy did not bow down correctly in his meeting on July the 2nd, in that very year. Then the Sovereign Military Order of Malta, he fired Alan Dulles, which is absolutely no-no. You don't fire Knights of Malta. And of course, Hector sent me an interesting file last week that the Vatican itself has announced that there is a new constitution of the Order of Malta. And I think that is very bad news. Yeah? I think they have a purpose. I don't know that purpose yet, but they have a purpose, yeah, to do so. Yeah, so they have a new constitution. So what are they actually doing? These are the knights who are sharing blood. And now we can imagine, I think, that we will see riots in the street and people getting slain, or war in general. Yeah. So if they got a new constitution, maybe it's the old constitution, Brett.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Did you see that article here?
I didn't look much into it. I did see it, but I didn't really read too much into it.
Yeah. The SMOM always enjoyed special protection from the Apostolic See. Yeah, and SMOM also is together with the Vatican. They have a permanent observer status in the United Nations. So they are overseers. Like bishops, huh? Yeah. Yeah, this is, we are approaching really dark times here. Yeah, the Pope has determined a path forward that promised to ensure the Order's future both as a religious institute and a sovereign entity. Oh, there will be coming, I think this is no surprise that this is happening here. Yeah. And so, you think of the term or the saying of John F. Kennedy, Brett, I will splinter the CIA and into 1,000 pieces and scatter it to the wind. I know that this comes from a novel, but CIA is SMOM and therefore protected by the Pope, the Jesuits, the Vatican itself. Yeah? What does that article say? Yeah? We just had it here. Well, I've read it. I've read it actually 2 minutes ago. What was it saying? What about my short-time memory? Yeah. Set this in context here, Brett, with the firing of Alan Dulles, SMOM, and with the announcement of JFK that he will shatter the CIA into 1,000 pieces and scatter them into the wind. Yeah? When Pope Francis says that the order SMOM has always enjoyed special protection from the Apostolic See, pointing out how over the centuries the various Pope have acted to affirm the identity, the maintaining operations to help overcome crisis. Yeah? So that means that if you fire somebody of the SMOM, you deal with the papacy. That's how I understand it here. Yeah. So he's got no friends. He has all enemies. Yeah. These are all his enemies now, Kennedy. Yeah. So CIA with the Roman eagle. Yeah. And Freemasons as well. You see that LBJ officially was a Freemason, and there were other Freemasons around. Yeah, he did not serve them, because you see that officially the Freemasons have been running the country, or been founding the country, actually, George Washington, etc. But Kennedy was a Roman Catholic. And that's the first problem. Then he was a Knights of Columbus. And he did not, he wanted to shatter the CIA. So what does that mean? That if he starts with the CIA, he will then start with the Secret Service and all the other organizations. Yeah, and so he was, with the hierarchy, he was an enemy for the hierarchy. Yeah, so Freemasons, they won't protect him. Yeah, you see, Freemasons are running the Secret Service. Yeah, yeah. So they're making the ritual for the SMOM. Yeah, so most likely, because Freemasons is just like propaganda due. Yeah, it's just a second fiddle. Yeah, FBI is the same problem. Yeah, FBI, he's got a very, very big enemy with J. Edgar Hoover. Yeah, J. Edgar Hoover really hated the Kennedys. But J. Edgar Hoover outlived so many presidents, and he was very, very, very highly influential person, and he was 33-degree Freemason. So if you want to get rid of the FBI as well as the next organization, or have a problem with the FBI, then you automatically have problems with the Freemasons. Haha. Yeah, so that's a problem with it. Ne? Next one is Secret Service. Ne? It's the same thing, founded by Freemasons. Pinkerton. Huh? So then was also under the threat of being shattered as well. And then also being reinstituted, reformed into the United States Department of Homeland Security from 2003. And I think that is much more likely that is because of the 2001 happenings there, that people were stripped of their civil rights, and of course the authorities, they have gained more rights, Brett.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Dallas Police Department, it's the same thing. Not only the pentagram, but Dallas Police Department, high-ranking Freemason, Jesse Curry, 33-degree Freemason. Yeah, so he has absolutely no friends. Not only also the press. Yeah, on the same day of the Dallas visit, on November the 22nd, you find that advertisement, wanted for treason. Yeah, so he was surrounded by enemies. He was surrounded by enemies because he not wanted to have any war. He just wanted to have it his way. And so then everybody down the hierarchy, they ordered him and said, get rid of him because he does not obey our authority. Yeah. What was the saying of Allen Dulles? That little Kennedy, he thought he was a god. Yeah, but there is one in the world who also thinks that he is God, and he makes it quite sure that he's serious. Yeah, well, I had another idea. The idea, Brett, is common sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what our Father in heaven gave us. Yeah, he gave us the Holy Spirit, and he gave us common sense. And so why don't we approach it quite the other way? I will show you one method. It's an alternative view on the events of JFK and Elm Street on the day of the assassination. Okay. You really have to start with basics, yeah, because it was a bright, sunshiny day, and the president had to be executed as a heretic on that hypothesis. So they need good weather. And this is, I don't know if that is fake, but this is a paper here for owning the weather in 2025. You say that, that's a long way, decades after Kennedy. But wait, yeah, this was been here presented to the Air Force, so military, in August 1996. So it's a forecast for about 30 years. But what if I can show you that quote of Lyndon B. Johnson, who said, he who controls the weather will control the world, yeah, in May 1962. So 18 months almost before the assassination on Kennedy took place. Weathermodificationhistory.com. So if he says, weather satellites, world's cloud layer, control the weather, control the world, yeah, as a politician, he's not a scientist or what else, yeah, then there is something going on behind the curtain. Yeah, And I found, for example, in the United States patent of April 1951, process for controlling weather. And you have to take into consideration, that was been handed over by my beloved German sister Stephanie. Yeah, you have to take into consideration that this bread is just the official patent. Mm-hmm. I don't think that they will release patents who would affect the national security because there are some patents being used in the military. Or some things in the military, they won't do it publicly. Yeah, but you see that in 1951 already they had processes and suggestions and patents for controlling the weather. Yeah, so that was mandatory to have the infrastructure to assassinate President Kennedy in broad daylight so that everybody can see it at least on film. We don't have to talk about the fact that the film is altered. But you see, it would have made a very lesser effect if President Kennedy would have been ridden in a closed car, Brad. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's the first hint. Yeah. And of course, they needed a scapegoat like Osama bin Laden. Yeah, Osama is the same as Oswald. Osama is always the same. Yeah, I think it is likely that he was initially been at least even shot in the Texas Schoolbook Depository or in a theater. Yeah, so that he would kept his mouth shut. Yeah, but Oswald also said that I'm out with Shelley in front, so that he was out with Mr. Shelley in front, so maybe there was also a Photoshop forgery there in Altgen 6, for example. And he then called for John Hurt when he was in the police department. So John Hurt could be his contact man, his handler, or a code for maybe, yes, I'm involved in the assassination of Kennedy. So John Hurt could also be John F. Kennedy hurt seriously or been dead or some other things. Yeah, so that is very strange. So I have to go into thinking that I have to start anew. And I have to look into things that been pointed out to me. The first thing that I notice here, that there is something happening here with the right door. It seems that the right door has not been closed properly, Brett. I don't know if you can see that. And it's also
yeah, that was funny you mentioned that because I was looking at that too. Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Very strange. So that also means that Kennedy is a sitting duck. Yeah, because he can't get out of the vehicle that easy. It's been blocked by Jackie and it's been blocked by the senator here. Yeah, that's the door. Yeah, otherwise he had to do it the Jackie Kennedy Pink Panther style. Yeah, over the trunk or just to jump out of the car. Yeah, but he's stuck here. He's like a sitting duck. So everybody knows that during the motorcade, the president is stuck on that seat. Can't be the other way because all other things are blocked, and between them there is a set of roses with thorns. Okay, so that is my theory. Yeah. So the exoteric for the lay people or for the mainstream is that there are shooters from the outside. Yeah. First of all, if you don't fall for the scapegoat theory of Lee Harvey Oswald, they will get you into believing alternative theory, which is then it's coming from the grassy knoll or from Hickey AR-15 rifle from behind or something like this. Yeah, they don't care as long if you does not know who's behind it and how they made it. Okay, so what can I see or what's about it? So the first thing is that, okay, you see, this is exoteric and esoteric. What exoteric would mean, in the best way, it's from an outsider and it's just only for the people who have no inside knowledge. So shooters from outside, yeah, is an exoteric idea. And shooters from the inside of the car, yeah, this is the really most likely probable alternative because that means you are dealing with insiders. And it is the most obvious thing also because it's more likely that you can kill somebody at close range, yeah, than to kill somebody at 100 plus yards or feet. Yeah, so ask yourself, who would risk the life of such important people? If you really fall for the exoteric version or the alleged conspiracy theory that grassy knoll and what else, yeah, who would risk the life of such important people? Like a Secret Service agent William Greer. Okay, that's not a big deal maybe because he just had a regular Secret Service education, but nonetheless, he's an official. Or of Secret Service agent in charge, Roy Kellerman. Or of the governor of Texas, John Connolly. And the first lady of Texas, Nellie Connolly. I don't know. And the first lady, Jacqueline, or else Jackie Kennedy. So if something would have gotten wrong from the outside, it would be an absolute mess. So it is really likely that there is somebody shooting to the president's car and hurting somebody inside the car. No one was injured, only the president. Yeah, of course, you can't take Connolly seriously. Huh? But apart from that, nobody was injured. And there was a flurry of shells, Mr. Kellerman said. Okay. So, what's that good for? You don't have any idea? I will tell you my idea. My idea is you have to minimize the risks. And to minimize the risk means you have to close the gap. You have to shoot the president from the closest distance possible. Who has the closest distance possible? There are two people, Connolly and Mrs. Kennedy. Yeah, let's move on. So Kennedy is the main point in the assassination because he made strange actions. He is turning around and he is allegedly shot by a magic bullet which never have appeared anywhere else before or after. Please look at some strange things happening then. Yeah, my hypothesis is what you see is what you don't get. Maybe you are in the computer business and you know that there was sometimes a saying, what you see is what you get. Yeah, that means that your printer is printing out the exact same colors that you are seeing on your monitor. But I would like to change that into what you see is what you don't get. Yes, you see what you are supposed to see. But there are things which you are not supposed to see. So that I ask a question, which things were not being shown in the Zapruder movie, because that are the most important factors. It is not what you see, because what you see is what you are supposed to see, but is what you don't see. And I came up with 5 different clues. Sorry for German here. Yeah? The first clue is you don't see this side of the spectators. So there must be something happening here. That's why they limit the view also to make it more easy to alternate the video here in foreground and background most likely. That's the first hint. The second hint is that you don't see what is going on because the camera is focusing from the right. You don't see what's going on the left side of the vehicle because it is blocked by the people on the right side of the limousine. So if there is just one action taken and Zapruder is not by accident filming from the right side, then the actions are most likely being carried out from the left side. So from Mr. Greer, from Mrs. Connolly and from Mrs. Kennedy. That's my hypothesis. Further, what you don't see is the Secret Service car in front, and what you also don't see in the Zapruder movie is the Dallas police car of Jesse Curry. So why is that? Because that is actually the Zapruder gap of 132, 133. You don't see them. Yeah? Suddenly out of the president's car is appearing. Yeah? But the 2 cars before the president's are not shown. So that must have been a purpose. And the fourth one, of course, is not by accident. Where is that? Yeah. The fourth one is the white van we see in the Alkins picture, but not on the Zapruder movie. So let's get it on. Yeah. No one would suggest that this picture could have a certain meaning. Because if you show that picture to a general American, like let's say a certain Brett, yeah, then Brett would say, okay, that the meaning of the picture is what?
The meaning of the picture.
Yeah. What does she do?
Oh, Jackie?
Yeah.
hold her hand up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like she's just fixing her head or making sure that the head
Yeah.
won't blow apart. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But why? Because she does not do that gesture on the entire Elm Street. And it was so windy and so hard. And she does not do it when she's crawling on the trunk, so the head stays in place. Yeah, but on that very occasion, when she's facing here the CIA agent Louis Conine, yeah, she's suddenly, her hand is just moving to the head. That's very strange. Yeah, could it be that's also a sign, maybe? Yeah, so I agree, I follow the orders, and everything is okay. Yeah, so that's what I mean, esoteric and exoteric. So usually people think, oh, she's just putting her head in place. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I don't have to agree with that. Yeah, maybe there are some other things happening here. Yeah, you can't go for any kind of evidence they present to you. They will only present you evidence which is futile. For example, the dicta belt recordings from a allegedly motorbike cop. You don't know from which motorbike cop. Most likely it is from another motorbike cop, which is not even in Didi Plaza. And so you can get rid of all the artifacts and waveforms here. And I know what I'm talking about because I'm quite familiar with that, and Brett too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so you can't go for that, because you will only see what they want you to see, and you will only hear what they want you to hear. Yeah. So then notice also that there are several channels. That's an estimation or a suggestion that came to me quite from the beginning. Yeah. So you only hear channel 1, but there's also at least a channel 2, a semi-private Dallas police channel, where Jesse Curry said, okay, yeah, blah, 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 don't put it on the air. Yeah, and of course, because that is official here, you can read it on Google here, and that's most likely is also distraction. Yeah, so there are several channels. Yeah, don't think for just one moment that the communication did happen on a public channel. Yeah, being recognized by a Meta people? No. By the entire Dallas police? No. That's much too dangerous. Yeah, because in the older times we could listen to our police channel radio by FM. No. That would be too easy. Yeah, so there are Dallas Police Radio Channel 1 and 2, and counting the amounts of antennas on the president's limo back, I'd say there are several channels there possible. You see that when I was young, we had a so-called CB-Funk, yeah, a CB broadcast, where there were, I don't know, 10, 12, 15 channels. Huh? No. Yeah, so it is just hilarious. This is a kind of an anchor of a battleship here from an aircraft carrier, and yeah, this is where the chain is going round. No? Very interesting, Brett. Now there are some artists here. Oh yeah, that's just hilarious, funny sometimes. Yeah. So of course, they were afterwards, after the assassination, they had television broadcast studios there, of course, yeah. But also the white van is missing, and I have come up with that theory and later recognized and realized that Fetzner had the same idea, that that van is the central of communication, the communication central for the assassination. Yeah, because that is hidden. That is what you don't supposed to get to see on the Zapruder movie. Yeah, they are blacking out the white van. Yeah, so that white van must be very important. Once again, my hypothesis is that you only see what is unimportant and you don't see the important bits. So you have to see for the things that they don't want you to see. Of course, it's been seen in Alton's picture, but maybe they had too less time to modify it. I don't know. But you see, I don't suppose that this is a cleaning van. I suppose it is a rented vehicle from the secret whatsoever else. Yeah. So this is not visible. So that could be the communication center. Yeah. And once again, who was also the one who was having a walkie-talkie in his hand? According to the Senator Yarborough here in that limousine, it was Lyndon B. Johnson who was ducking down when they were riding or making the turn onto the Elm Street. Yeah, he was ducking down and having his walkie-talkie, so he was been listening to some communication going on. Huh? What a coincidence! And it is just here that the white van is there with some attachments maybe, or don't know, can't see that on that grainy picture. Yeah. Who also was in control of the radio was, of course, the radio operator from the JFK limousine. The name is Roy Kellerman, Secret Service agent in charge. Of course, he was sending out the communication out of the presidential limousine here. And who also had a communication, wireless communication, was Police Chief Jesse Curry, 33-degree Freemason, seeing here in Altgen 7, riding in front of the presidential limousine. And that's not by far all the people. There are more. Yeah? Here you see the so-called 3 ruffians of the Freemason ritual, or the 3 tramps then. And you see here Dallas police escorting them. Yeah, and these people have also in-ear communication, wireless communication. Huh? So wireless, and even the Dealey Plaza, short after the accidental shooting of Mr. Kennedy took place, you see clearly people with walkie-talkie. Yeah? There's a walkie-talkie, and maybe there's a walkie-talkie in his pocket or so. I don't know what these 2 artifacts here are. Maybe 2 walkie-talkies, but at least 1 walkie-talkie. Huh? And these people are just relaxed. Yeah? It's like Mr. Ike Oldkins here, who was just looking for some decent picture. Yeah? He was not being concerned that there could be a shooter or so. It's very interesting. Yeah, here also you see these people rearranging the man and his wife and the children for a decent picture. Yeah, so the picture you see also is staged. Yeah, it is not the original picture. They had to lie down a second time just for the newspaper to get famous. Not, my. Yeah, so these are all people who have most likely in-ear communication, yeah, with the Dallas police and with their authorities. Yeah, once again, this is Mr. Lonsdale here. Yeah, and there you see people who have members from the police or officials, or maybe they're disguised as is. I don't know. Yeah, so but I think that it's very much likely that this entire assassination had been controlled by radio operatives, Brett. And this is the part that you don't see. You don't see the white van. And you don't see other things too. I have always my problems with the background here, but it's just only me. Yeah. So, and there's a famous Tina Towner, not Tina Turner, but Tina Towner movie. Yeah, that's a girl here standing here on the hairpin here, filming the presidential limousine. Because you know, yeah, that in the Zapruder movie there are frames missing. Yeah, the gap between 132 and 133, yeah, it is absolutely missing. Yeah, and that's a valid thing. Yeah? So how or why are these parts being missed out? Yeah, my computer needs a bit time to go to 132. Yeah, so 132, 133, huh? This is a bit of a gap, huh? It's a bit of a gap, yeah. But you see that these people are almost standing motionless, yeah. Just try to concentrate on that person here, yeah. It's just motionless, yeah. So there are certain things which are very strange in that video. You see that the line of people is the same few seconds later. There's no movement towards the lane or back from the lane. They are just standing, bam, 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 bam. Yeah. Even here, people standing on the street, but these people are just following orders or what? No, this is just it's a fake and a fake and a fake and a fake. Okay. So, in this Tina Turner movie, you could say that, okay, yeah, that's very easy now. Now we finally have the turn of the presidential limousine and everything is fine. You only have to add all this information here. You only have to add that film to the gap of Mr. Zapruder. But no, that does not work, Brett. Yeah, because that is the movie here. Yeah, and finally, now you get the turn from the presidential limousine. Yeah, but sorry, it's a fake, Brett.
Really? Wow.
It's a fake.
Yeah.
It's a fake for 2 reasons. Yeah? At least 2 reasons. The first reason is, yeah, and you see I got my problems with the background here. You see that background here, yeah, yeah. You see that background here. Now you please compare it to the script here, yeah, to that and co. I don't know. I don't see that on the Zapruder movie. I don't see that on the Towner movie. I'm sorry, people. Maybe it's my glasses. I don't see that. I don't see that. I find that background here quite strange, but maybe that's only my problem. But what the thing is with that Towner movie is it's just a composite. Yeah? Because the first hint
Can
is...
you go back to the beginning frame there? The beginning. Very, very beginning. Okay, right there. Do you see that building now? Right there behind the red light? Just under the red light? Would that be the...
Yeah.
Would that be the building you were in question?
I don't know. I really don't know.
It might be. It's really not a good quality movie.
No. But my problem
that
is
looks like the white van, though, right there in the center of the...
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Spot on. Yeah, that was the white van.
Yeah, that looks like the white van there.
Yeah, really there it is. There it is. Yeah, sure.
Right there it is.
Sure.
Yeah.
But the problem is...
So that verifies that, at least.
Yeah, that verifies that. Yeah. But now it comes the tricky bit. Yeah, the tricky bit is, look at the car. It's making a left turn, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so everything is okay. The problem is that there are eyewitnesses who said, oh no, the driver couldn't make that turn. He had to stop and he had to pull back and make another attempt.
Right.
So that makes a problem here, because that appears that it's a steady motion here. Yeah, it's a fluent movie, but it isn't. It can't be, because it contradicts the eyewitnesses. And not only that, yeah, we have another problem, because in a JFK forum I recognized that there is a split in the movie. Yeah. And of course, you can guess that the FBI or Dallas Police Department have confiscated that movie.
A split, yes, big split.
No, that's yeah, okay, that's a split. I don't mean that split. Okay, she there is also a split here. Okay, but that's not the thing that I meant. Yeah, that's little bit more subtle. Yeah. Okay. So you can imagine that they confiscated that movie and they have fabricated that movie. You can imagine that. Yeah, you can't risk that an animator could get how they did it. Yeah, so this is another one of a slow motion. And now I'll tell you when it has been split. Maybe you will see that on your own. Please try, Brett.
Right there. Right there.
Absolutely.
Right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now you see the split.
That's what she meant.
Yeah. And why? For what reason could it be? Yeah. It would only make sense, up to my knowledge, Brett, that they have fabricated that movie to create the illusion of a constant moving car. But if you have eyewitness who said that, oh, no, the driver, they almost scratched the pavement and they could not make the turn, they had to make a second try, then I would say that maybe, just maybe, we can't prove it, yeah, just maybe, you now have a very slow motion here, or slow motion here. Maybe they just cut out the part of the driver, that the driver couldn't make the first turn. And what you see, the first part of the movie until the first split, yeah, is the first part, the first attempt, which did fail. And then they cut it together with the successful second time that the limousine was making the turn. That is just an assumption here. Of course, I can't prove it. But what I can prove is there is a split in the movie. And it contradicts the eyewitnesses who said that, no, the driver couldn't make the turn and he had to try a second time. You can't see that on that movie. Yeah, what you see, of course, is the white van here. Yeah, clearly. You don't see any black boxes here in a Zapruder movie. Yeah, but you see, he's making the turn. Everything looks very neat. Everything looks shiny, polished, and everything is fine. The weather is constantly hot. Yeah. And now you only have to concentrate on a special location in that movie. It will soon appear. I know that it's very, very slow motion here. Yeah, but now it will appear. I think it is a wall or so. Yeah, it will very soon appear. And then you see that. Yeah, you have to concentrate on Jackie and concentrate on that white tower here. You see that white tower here. Yeah, concentrate on that white tower here. Yeah, okay. Now concentrate on Jackie. Jackie is here. Yeah, look at that white tower. And bam! You see?
Right.
Yeah? You see? And that is what is not fitting in that movie. Yeah? So I think
there's
that
the entrance to the school book depository right in our face.
Yeah,
right?
Sure. With a grainy picture, of course.
Yeah, very grainy.
Yeah. So that's the split in the movie. Bang. Yeah, that's the split. So you could have done it more professionally. We could now compare all the people in the background and all the things. But don't think for just one moment that they have not fabricated all the movies to support their theory. Yeah? So the eyewitness are saying, I think they have did they have not made it? I think that I have seen it on some video. I don't know. No, it was not that video then. Don't think for just one moment that they have not fabricated everything. Yeah. So that is the problem I got with that. It proves the white van, yeah, but it disproves the Zapruder movie. Definitely. Okay, so let's get it on. Yeah, you see that there is something fishy here. Yeah, something fishy means that you don't see a movie which is honest to you. Yeah, they're all fabricated to create the illusion of a moving car. Also, what you don't see in any movie is the fact that there are reports of eyewitnesses indicating that the Dallas police chief Jesse Curry, 33-degree Freemason, he had stopped his vehicle in front of the actual motorcade of Kennedy to step out the vehicle and to talk with the policeman standing near the Texas School Book Depository. So that is some subject or artifact which has not been covered by picture or by movie. At least it has not been published yet. So question is what Jesse Curry's involvement is in the assassination. And of course he is the highest authority of the Dallas Police Department. So you can guess that there are so many things in that assassination that they won't tell you. The occurrence of Jesse Curry in that Kennedy assassination in the Texas School Book Depository area, that is also very telling, I think. Nix and Zapruder, they create the illusion of a moving car. Okay. But, and big but, there is a splice now, and there are eyewitnesses who are saying, oh, no, this is fabricated. And of course, officially, everybody would say that, who are looking at the films, yeah, that's absolutely, the Towner frame corresponds to Zapruder frame, etc., and all those things. You can't do all these calculations here, because you don't know how much frames are missing. For the Zapruder movie, for the Nix movie, for the Towner movie, for the Bronson movie, you can't tell. Yeah, so you can only use your common sense, which I said before. Yeah, so keep it simple, stupid. It is fabricated, so they have to hide something. Yeah, you can't do it very complicated, Brett. Yeah, you can do it our way and say, okay, 1 + 1 is 2. Yeah, but you can also do it the academic way in 27 divided to 3 minus 1. And you get the same result. Yeah, but that looks sophisticated here. Yeah, so they're making everything extremely complicated. Yeah, it's So Fetzer has a combination of dia frames, which I will use in the next session, and he says quite correctly, he said, who sets the motorcade route? The pilot car, driven by SS agents. Of course, they're also equipped with radio communication. Yeah, not been seen in any film. Yeah, not been seen. Of course, also JFK's driver was to be replaced. Yeah, from the strange death of Thomas Shipman 6 weeks before the assassination. Yeah. Oh my, my, my. My, oh my, suicide is everywhere, but nobody wants to talk about it. And he says that's the same that I came up without Mr. Fetzer. He said that, okay, that's a command and control communication center. Yeah, that's most likely. Yeah, that's most likely that people were all been connected through these wireless things. Yeah, you have to have a right infrastructure, and that's absolutely spot on in DD Plaza. You have access from several sites, and you place that communications center in the center. Yeah. So between the Houston Street and the Elm Street, and you can say then, okay, then which shooter has to shoot which distraction? Yeah, we are not talking about Jackie Kennedy now. We're talking about the events on the DD Plaza. Yeah, so all the distractions of the Umbrella Man. Somebody has to control everything. Yeah, and that's a good spot to control it. To control also the people in the Texas School Book Depository. Yeah, where else would you locate a vehicle which you can later fade out, Brad? In the movie, in the Zapruder movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's that. Yeah, so many people had radio communications, LBJ being among of them. Yeah, and they had time to prepare things on the Houston Street here. Yeah, these vehicles which are being seen here before the president arrived, they have not been found on the presidential motorcade. Then, yeah, they've all been moving away. Yeah, but only this Rambler station wagon or Chevrolet station wagon, he was parked in the wrong direction. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's very interesting to go in that, but I'm not quite sure about some other allegations from Mr. Fetzer. To come to a conclusion, of course, he was not protected. It was meant to be. Yeah, it was meant to be that he was not been protected, and according to Fetzer, he said that it was Dave Powers who ordered the seating of the president on the right side and the seating of Jackie Kennedy on the left side. Yeah, so that was Mr. Powers, and that is very interesting and very strange, because we thought up to this very day that not only Mr. Powers was the guy who then was running out of film, and that the film was being discovered 33 years later, but also he was befriended of Mr. Kennedy. But once and for all, I don't think that he's got any friends, because you are surrounded by people who just want to strive for money and power. So, and that's it. You see that if you really compare that, it's really hard to tell what's wrong and what's right. Allegedly, Fetzer said that was a SS agent Robertson who was rushing to the limo to warn the president of the impending ambush. And then he was promptly wrestled to the ground and hustled away. I don't know what, it's too grainy. You see, you can't see anything. Yeah, if that man was BSS Secret Service or what, we can't tell. But what we can tell is you have to take a look at the limousine. Yeah, you see, this is a vehicle here which was equipped from the Secret Service. Yeah, which was intended to carry the president and highly influential, important people. Yeah, that's the fact here. Yeah, and that was dismantled then. So you see that they destroyed the evidence. Yeah, on a government basis. Yeah, not on a private basis, on a government basis. Yeah, so that is the key on that. You see that it would have not given him any kind of protection near the glass window, the glass roof. Yeah, but of course they would not have that great show of his killing. Yeah, so. The car is the key. That's quite obvious, yeah. The car is the key, yeah. And when you compare that all these installations there, you know that this car was being equipped 1961 with a special, with special equipment, electronic equipment also, it seems, yeah. So radio communication, yeah. And don't tell me they are just using 1 or 2 channels here, yeah. Come on, yeah. And that what kept me into thinking about Mr. Edgar Hoover. And Stephanie asked me when we were talking about the white van, what do you think, who was sitting in the white van, which you don't see on the Zapruder movie? And I said, well, maybe, most likely the people who were joining in Clint Murchison's home the afternoon or the night before the assassination took part. I guess high-ranking people of CIA and FBI, maybe J. Edgar Hoover himself. Yeah, because somebody has to collect and order the evidence. You see that the art of killing Kennedy is not the art of killing itself, but getting rid of all the evidence, Brett.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when I went into the car, I realized that there is a Hoover who wanted to have FBI electronic surveillance, so to have surveillance about and with highly influential people. Yeah, so this is an issue of 1976 of the U.S. Senate Select Committee, blah blah blah. Yeah, and among of them are things about 1962. Yeah, in 62, we know that J. Edgar Hoover has also put surveillance on Robert Kennedy and all the things. And don't you really think that he, as a high-ranking Freemason, 33 degree, did not surveillance on JFK as well? So I came into this electronic surveillance, which is called ELSUR. Yeah, so ELSUR means electronic surveillance. Talking about in 1960, yeah, they had radio communication and control. Yeah, so wiretapping and J. Edgar Hoover. So J. Edgar Hoover really hated the Kennedys. The man and the secrets. Yeah, Hoover wiretapping the American populace. Yeah, yeah. Oh, and you don't have to read all the text because we can take a shortcut here. Yeah, we can really take a shortcut. Yeah, you really only have to read one book, I think. Yeah. Hoover was the director of FBI for decades. He had so much information, and he really knew everything about Marilyn Monroe and all the stuff. Yeah, COINTELPRO also is an acronym for a counterintelligence program initiated at FBI Director Hoover's behest. Yeah, so Hoover is also behind the not the cover-up about JFK, but the deception after the JFK. Yeah, all the wrong evidence and all the things. Yeah, so the FBI collected all the things. Yeah, of course the Dallas police did, but of course on orders of the FBI, because the FBI is in the hierarchy is higher on top as of the Dallas Police Department. Yeah, you have only to get to know of the things we only have spoken about, because, for example, this book, Hoover versus or against the Kennedys. And Hoover was one of the people who were being among the meeting of Clint Murchison together with LBJ on the night of the assassination, when LBJ told his Mistress Marilyn Brown, tomorrow these SOBs of Kennedys won't embarrass me again. That's not a threat, that's a promise. Yeah, and Hoover was also there among other influential people. So he was in Dallas. So I guess he was one of the people inside the white van. That's my guessing. Can't prove it, of course. Yeah, but that's the thing. You see that you could know everything about John F. Kennedy if you would have wiretapped his phones, the White House, even the car. So they could control the car from the outside. They knew exactly what Kennedy was telling Jackie or what else. That's my estimation. It's not only a telephone. There are, of course, microphones here and hidden things that you don't know of. Yeah? Installations of White House Army Signal Agency equipment in new limousine. We're talking about Army. Yeah? We're not talking about, this is just a Woolworth or so. No, they're talking about professional equipment here. 1961. Organizations Department of the Army, Office of the Chief, etc. Yeah, installation of the White House Army Signal Agency equipment in a new limousine. Yeah, what are they doing here? I think this is an electronic circuit here, and maybe they are soldering or just been putting some things together here. And this is just from the place of Kellerman, it seems, yeah? So what from the passenger seat, yeah? You see here a radio device.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
You see that's a radio device here, and they are just putting something on here. Maybe some kind of a talking back system or so, yeah?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be.
Yeah, okay, so, and you have also controls in the back of the car. Yeah, on both sides, yeah. Yeah, so they could control, you see, this is the control center, most likely here. They could hear anything which happened inside the car. And what shall convince me they could only hear? You see, they had the communication of Kellerman the entire time. Yeah, you see all the antennas on the back here. If you want to do it perfectly, you have to control all the people, all the deception shooters, all the umbrella mans and all the people. You have to control it by radio communication. Yeah, that's quite clear to me. That's the easiest way to make things instantly. Think of the thing that if you would like to have two shots to appear at the same time, how will you do that? Well, if you have somebody, a radio operator beneath the shooter, who is giving the shooter the signal at the same time, then you have two almost similarity shooting. Yeah, so that's the most easiest way to do so. Yeah, so you see always these antennas in the back. Antennas, also antennas for the Dallas Police Department, of course. Yeah, antennas everywhere. Yeah, so everybody is connected with their hierarchy, especially also in the follow-up car. Yeah, and this is one great picture because I finally found a picture of JFK laughing. I really like JFK laughing. I really am so sick of seeing all the mess in this world. Yeah. Yes, you can also judge you can only judge a book by its cover. Yeah. Yeah, but what you are seeing is just a part of that what you shall see. You don't see all the electronic surveillance. Yeah, can't see it. But they are there. And also in the follow-up car. Yeah, you can imagine that there are secret compartments in that car. For example, also weapons in that car. Under the seat, for example. In the door. And here you see
could be the back of the seat too, Michael.
Yeah.
You know, this what was his name? The director or the senior of the special services there guy. And the what's his name? The governor. You know, ducking out of the way there.
Yeah.
Making it clear. Clear trajectory path for the president's head.
Yeah, could be everything, but you see the car is the key.
Yeah,
and here you got a very good picture, maybe also from the Towner movie, I don't know, or maybe from a photo, yeah. And here you see clearly the van, and you not only the van. Look what's behind the van here.
Oh, geez.
What you can't see in the Alkins picture here, yeah. Here you see the van, and
it looks like a semi truck. Doesn't it? A trailer of some kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we would have better pictures and so, Yeah, but you don't see it. You see that also these girls here, they could have an in-ear communication. You can't see that properly because they have long hair. That's the advantage of women. Can't see that. Oh,
yep, they could be told, you gotta smile now, you gotta smile.
Phil Willis smiles. That's Phil Willis smiles. Okay, yeah. Can't see that, yeah? You can't see that. Yeah, maybe they have...
that's true. They could be cued as to what to do the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, and the press was very far behind so that they could not get a glimpse on the things that were happening inside the car. It's inside the car. And if you then compare, when we are about to close down the sessions, if you just then compare Look at this. Yeah, antennas. Yeah, if you then compare the following. Yeah, look a few days before what the seating order was inside that vehicle.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Women in front and then
Yeah,
the men in back.
yeah.
Huh.
Hmm. Yeah, this was at the San Antonio International Airport. Yeah, same car. Different combination. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's also same car. Once again, different combination. I have better pictures for that. Yeah, same car, another different combination. Because, of course, the set of roses is missing.
Mm-hmm.
The set of roses, the red roses for blood ritual, is only happening in Dallas. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see? It's every time different. It's different every time. Could not have happened there. You see? 1, 2, 3. You really have to compare that. You see that every time it's a changing order. Yeah, so that it's very strange that it is in Dallas. It happened in Dallas when Jackie Kennedy was sitting beside her husband. Yeah? Even here, it is the other way around. Yeah? So you see that here Nellie and her man has changed places. And now here's the governor besides Mr. Kennedy, when Brad, the magic bully, would have a really hard time here. Huh?
Probably.
Choo. What you see, it's people fall for everything. Huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
The closest distance to JFK is in Dallas is from Jackie Kennedy. No question about it. No question about it. So there must be a reason for that set of roses, because here on other occasions they did not have a set of roses. Yeah. So the set of roses is mandatory for only having 2 people in the back seat. Aha. So there is so much going on there, and that's inside that car. Yeah, I guess that if you would have 2 very honest forensic people and 1 or 2 researchers of that car, you would have known how they did it. Yeah, we had then traces of bullet, traces of powder, traces of blood, DNA samples, fingerprints. Yeah, of course, she's wearing gloves. Huh? She's clever. Yeah, she's wearing gloves on several occasions. Yeah, sure. Maybe he has a problem with hygiene. Don't know. She would be very suited in 2022. But yeah, you really have to see that. You really have to compare that we are being fooled. Yeah, you see, this is the part of the radio communication. And if you now know that it is Hoover against the Kennedys, and both Kennedys have died and Hoover succeeded. Yeah, why? Because he had the intelligence, he had the knowledge, he had foreknowledge, because he knew everything that the Kennedy brothers were up to. But the Kennedy brothers did not in return knew what LBJ and Edgar J. Hoover and all the people were up against them. But that is the case here. You see that if you want to have a vehicle and everything being recorded here and transmitted here, then you have certain frequencies. Here are 2 antennas, and you have a radio control module, and we don't know what here has been installed also. Yeah, we can't see that. And I suppose also that this also could maybe also just a mock-up here. Maybe there was a camera here or where, because they wanted to have, I'm quite convinced, they wanted to have a great picture of being JFK executed. Yeah, they won't take that 8mm movie of Zapruder if they can have a real bright cinema shot or what else. And don't tell me there is not enough room for a camera. We are talking about Secret Service. We are talking about unlimited amount of money and possibilities here. Yeah, see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, you can have a radio. You can have a mock-up, you can have so much things. Yeah, you don't know what is hidden inside. Yeah, in plain sight. Yeah, I think that's it. I know that I missed something, but I can't remember what it was. No. Now that is for the next time. Okay, finally. I know that I'm missing something I don't know. Yeah, so to end the sessions, finally, Brett, thanks for bearing with me. Thanks, dear listeners. I'm really glad that when this Kennedy thing is over, that we can go into more Bible studies and into more biblical related things. But of course, this is a religious war against good and evil from the start of the world here. And you see that it is now Hoover versus Kennedy means that just Hoover was spying on the Kennedys. And I hope that I have made some prolific points in that this is the start of the assassination ritual here from the worldly viewpoint. And I hope that in the next sessions you will be back bearing with us. And for the next time, I'm quite almost losing my voice now. I have to eat and drink a bit. I hope you're having a good time in this satanic world, and please keep up and read your Bible where everything has been stated, which was from the beginning. And from the beginning, this world, this fallen world, fallen mankind is absolute mess. And so that every political leader who is against this satanic authority has to be executed. And with the means of 1963, with the technical skills of 1963, don't even think that they have not used radio communications, televisions, and all the means, because it is just the end justifies all means to them. So thank you very much for having me, Brett, and the audience. I'm signing off, handing it over to my really, really beloved brother, Brett.
Thank you, Michael. Yeah, I think, thinking back on this Hoover versus the Kennedys way of thinking, it's really the secret societies versus the Kennedys. That's what we're talking about. The mother of harlots and abominations of the earth versus the common man. Let's just look at Kennedy being a common man for once, because he wasn't really a very sophisticated kind of guy. He was kind of grassroots, if you ask me. He wasn't really into the big stuff. He wanted to help the people out. And he saw that all these things were going on, and he tried to turn the thing around and make it beneficial for the common man, and you just can't do that successfully in a world that we live in like this. It's just not possible, especially in 2022, let alone in what was that, 1962? So that's 60 years ago, right? So yeah, it's a long time ago, but still, it all applies today. Modern life is very similar as to it was in the 60s. And we still face bigger problems yet. And it's not an easy subject at all. It's probably the most difficult subject, because no one wants to talk about it, because really it's something we've been deeply trained to ignore, haven't we, Michael? That is the effects of the secret societies on the world, and how they basically are using all of these different hierarchies to keep us under control, keep us in subjection to that same power that's been in power for thousands of years. And that power will continue until Christ returns, Michael, and there's not much we can do other than observe it and take notice of it, and to prepare for the future. So hopefully all of our listeners are preparing themselves for that future. And how much longer that future will be, none of us really know, but we know that the times are getting tougher, and they continue to get tougher. So God bless, and Maranatha.